We're talking about the concept, the principle of respecting other people's realities. I want to share with you a incident that happened. I was learning with one of my chavrusas on the phone, and we started the chavrusa. We learn once a week on the phone, and we had a little bit of a disagreement where we were up to. He said we were up to one place, and I said we were up to a little bit further on. I wasn't interested really in making a big deal about it, but he was quite adamant about it. So I asked him, I'm ready to go back, but like, what difference does it make here, really? Who's right and who's wrong here? He said it makes a big difference because a person thinks one thing and really something else is true. And what if he thinks in the middle of Shemon Esrei that he said something, he didn't say something? It became a little bit of a, uh, a emotional battle. And what I realized is that what had happened is that the last time we had learned together a week before, I had read the last part uh, myself. It was a little bit quick. Within 5-10 minutes, he had been already lost focus. So for me, we had already studied this, and for him, he hadn't studied it, and that was like very very clear reality for him that we had never seen this before. And for me, it was a very clear reality that this is where we left off. We had seen it before, and the question is who's right and who's wrong. The answer is that we're both right. In my reality, I had seen it, and his reality, he hadn't seen it. And I tried to convey this to him, but it didn't change the fact that in his reality he hadn't seen it, and therefore I realized that it was quite futile to continue. I said, let's just go on. But this happens so often. There's so many factors which can change a person's perception of reality. I remember seeing once in a certain book there was a study done in a college setting where they had a picture which could be seen in one or two ways. It could be seen as an older woman or a younger woman. And what they did was they handed out to half the class pictures, the same picture with a slant towards a younger woman. In other words, clear, it looked more like a young woman. And they handed out to half the class pictures with a slant that this picture looked like an older woman. And then they put the middle picture on the board, which wasn't clear. And all the people had seen the picture of the younger looking version said, that's a young lady. And all the people who saw the older version said, that's an older woman. And then of course, they put up all three pictures, and everyone realized that it's all a matter of perspective. Whether you see a picture as young or old, it's a matter of your picture. And everything in life, many things in life at least, are that fit into that category. And therefore, it's never worthwhile to get upset, frustrated, disturbed, whatever adjectives you want to use, about somebody who has an alternative view of things, because this is merely coming from the fact that they have an alternative view, and each view is justified. Right? Each view is justified, and the more we learn to live our life, to see things through other people's eyes, to understand that our eyes are different than other people's eyes, our perspective is different than other people's perspective. It depends on how we grew up and where we went to school and who our parents were and who our family is and who our friends are and what literature we read. There are many factors that determine our world outlook, and it's not worth it for people who to get into a fight about this. I was once on a plane and I was sitting next to a couple, not Jewish, but very nice people. And then the woman asked me, "Tell me, are you a rabbi?" I said, "Yes." She says, well, I have a question for you. Whenever I hear that, I get a little nervous. And I said, okay, what's the question? She said, I just came back from Mea Sharim, and I saw that some of the Hasidim wear white stockings, and some of them wear black stockings. What is this all about? So I was relieved that that was a question. It wasn't something on a more deeper philosophical level. And I said, it's a good question. I often wonder that myself. I'm not really sure. But I don't believe it's one of the main points in the Jewish religion. And then I thought to myself, maybe I'm wrong. I didn't tell this, but I thought maybe I'm wrong. It's so important. It's so critical, the way people dress and how accepting people no matter how they dress. Whether they wear white stockings, black stockings, no stockings, thick stockings. In Eretz Israel, there's like a lot of controversy. Is it this amount of thickness of stockings or that thickness? There's all sorts of opinions. I'm not coming into the halachic realm of sneas, what a woman should or shouldn't wear. But all I'm saying is that when we start judging people based on how they dress, then we're in great danger of losing the correct perspective on how we're supposed to see another Jew, another person. And we have to be able to get beyond the superficial trappings of the way people dress and other things. And it's all a question of perspective and respecting someone else's reality, right? If in someone else's reality, the right thing is to wear this type of kippah or that type of kippah or this type of head covering, that type of head covering, that's reality, and we should respect that and appreciate the person who they are and where they're coming from, and not to judge other people or to get upset with other people based on the way they see life. And it's not easy. In a lot of cases, in a lot of instances, we tend to be swayed by our perspective and how we see things. But it's not what the Torah wants. The Torah wants us to look at every single Jew as with malchus, with kingship. Kol Yisrael b'nei malachim. Every single Jew is the child of kings. And no matter how we see them, no matter how we view them, they are still the child of kings. And um, we're entitled to different perspectives. Finish off with one beautiful idea. Chavetz Chaim says, the Gemara, I believe it in the Taina, says that in the future, all the tzaddikim are going to stand in a circle, and they'll each point to the middle of the circle and say, "This is the God that we serve." And the Chavetz Chaim notes that a circle, in each point in a circle, is equidistant from the middle, which means each tzaddik, each righteous person who served God, each had his own path, and it was the correct path as long as it follows, as long as it's the guidelines of halacha, it's the correct path. So says the Chavetz Chaim, and they're all in a circle, they're all equidistant from Hashem. And this is critical for us to understand that there's different ways to serve Hashem, there's different ways to serve God, and all of them which are in the guidelines of halacha are valid, and we should validate the way other people see things and the way other people serve Hashem, and not to put people down, certainly not to say lashon hara or think bad. As I heard once from Gershon Edelstein, he said, "There's three rules in politics. Three rules. We just finished the elections here in Israel and in America. There's three rules in politics." And so I was wondering. I never heard of Edelstein speak before. What is the Rav going to say? What are the three rules of politics? So the Rav said the first one is don't say anything bad about the other side. The second rule is don't think anything bad about the other side. And the third rule is kol ma'asech l'shem shamayim. When I heard that, I wanted to dance because imagine this is the leader of Ashkenazi Jewry, Klal Yisrael. Such a clear perspective of how we're supposed to view our opponents, as it were, in politics. And even people who are not sympathetic to Torah values. Certainly, other Jews and other people who are sympathetic to the beautiful ways of the Torah, we should appreciate that their outlook might differ, and um, and to see three things through their perspective. And we do that, and we respect other people's realities, then we'll be so much more happier, and so much more together. Right? These differences can pull us apart and cause dispute, which is the primary reason why we haven't merited to have Mashiach yet. So Hashem should help us all to acquire the beautiful and critical attribute of seeing things through other people's eyes. And in the merit of that, we should see the redemption speedily. Amen. Kain Tiratzah.